Egypt arms Somalia, a move raising eyebrows. In a move that has sent ripples of concern throughout the Horn of Africa, Egypt has delivered a significant shipment of arms to Somalia. This delivery, the second of its kind in recent weeks, includes a range of military equipment, from anti-aircraft guns to artillery pieces. The shipment, offloaded from an Egyptian warship in the Somali capital of Mogadishu, was widely reported by journalists and has been met with a mixture of apprehension and intrigue by regional observers. This development marks a significant escalation in the relationship between Egypt and Somalia, two countries whose ties have grown increasingly warm in recent months. The arms delivery comes against a backdrop of deteriorating relations between Somalia and its neighbor, Ethiopia, adding another layer of complexity to the already volatile geopolitical landscape of the Horn of Africa. The timing of the shipment is particularly noteworthy, coinciding with a period of heightened tensions between Ethiopia and Egypt. The two countries have been locked in a bitter dispute over the Grand Ethiopian Renaissance Dam, a massive hydroelectric project on the Blue Nile that Egypt views as an existential threat. The arrival of Egyptian weaponry on Somali soil has raised alarm bells in Addis Ababa, Ethiopia's capital. Ethiopian officials have expressed concern that the arms could fall into the wrong hands, potentially exacerbating the already fragile security situation in Somalia and the wider region. Ethiopia's concerns. A history of rivalry. Ethiopia's concerns about the Egyptian arms shipment are deeply rooted in a history of rivalry and mistrust between the two countries. The relationship between Egypt and Ethiopia has long been strained by competition for the waters of the Nile River, a lifeline for both nations. Egypt, heavily dependent on the Nile for its water supply, has viewed Ethiopia's construction of the Grand Ethiopian Renaissance Dam with growing unease. Cairo fears that the dam, once operational, could significantly reduce the flow of water downstream, jeopardizing its agricultural production and economic well-being. The GERD dispute has become a major point of contention between Egypt and Ethiopia, poisoning relations between the two countries and fueling regional instability. The dispute has also drawn in other countries in the Nile Basin, further complicating efforts to find a peaceful resolution. The recent rapprochement between Egypt and Somalia, cemented by the arms deliveries, has only deepened Ethiopia's anxieties. Ethiopia views the growing ties between Cairo and Mogadishu through the lens of its own rivalry with Egypt, suspecting a strategic maneuver by Cairo to undermine its influence in the Horn of Africa. Geared. Fueling tensions in the Nile Basin. The Grand Ethiopian Renaissance Dam, a source of national pride for Ethiopia and a symbol of its development ambitions, has become a lightning rod for regional tensions. The dam, located on the Blue Nile near the border with Sudan, is set to be the largest hydroelectric power plant in Africa upon completion. While Ethiopia touts the dam's potential to provide much-needed electricity to its population and boost its economy, Egypt views the project as a grave threat to its national security. Cairo fears that the dam could lead to a drastic reduction in its water supply, with potentially devastating consequences for its agriculture and industry. Negotiations between Egypt, Ethiopia, and Sudan over the filling and operation of the dam have dragged on for years, marked by mistrust and acrimony. The failure to reach a mutually acceptable agreement has heightened tensions and raised fears of a potential conflict over the Nile's waters. The GERD dispute has exposed the fragility of water security in the Nile Basin, a region grappling with the challenges of a growing population, climate change, and political instability. The dispute underscores the urgent need for cooperation and dialogue among the Nile riparian states to ensure the equitable and sustainable management of this vital shared resource. The Horn of Africa, a region marked by its strategic geographical position and complex political landscape, has long been a focal point of international interest. This area, encompassing countries like Somalia, Ethiopia, Eritrea, and Djibouti, sits at the crossroads of major maritime routes and serves as a gateway between the Middle East and Africa. Its location makes it a critical nexus for global trade, particularly for energy supplies and goods transiting through the Suez Canal. In recent years, the geopolitical significance of the Horn of Africa has only increased. Major powers, including the United States, China, and various European nations, have established military bases and strategic partnerships in the region. These moves are driven by a mix of security concerns, economic interests, and the desire to exert influence over one of the world's most vital maritime choke points. At the same time, internal dynamics within the Horn of Africa are evolving. Countries like Somalia are grappling with internal conflicts and the threat of extremism, while Ethiopia's political reforms and economic ambitions are reshaping its role in regional affairs. Eritrea's re-emergence from international isolation and Djibouti's status as a hub for foreign military bases add further layers of complexity to the regional equation. The interplay of these factors makes the Horn of Africa a region of both opportunity and challenge. Its future will be shaped by the delicate balance of local aspirations and international interests, underscoring the need for nuanced diplomacy and cooperative strategies to ensure stability and prosperity. As the Horn of Africa navigates its internal dynamics and regional complexities, the role of external powers cannot be understated. The United States, China, and various European countries have all established a significant presence in the region, driven by a mix of strategic, economic, and security interests. The U.S. maintains military bases in Djibouti, utilizing its location to counter terrorism and ensure maritime security. Meanwhile, China has steadily increased its influence through infrastructure investments and the establishment of its first overseas military base in Djibouti. European nations, too, have sought to maintain a foothold, balancing their own strategic interests with efforts to support regional stability and development. This influx of external involvement has brought both opportunities and challenges. On one hand, investments and security partnerships can drive economic growth and enhance stability. On the other, the competition for influence among these powers can exacerbate local tensions and complicate regional diplomacy. As the Horn of Africa continues to evolve, the actions of external powers will play a critical role in shaping its future. The challenge lies in managing these influences in a way that promotes sustainable development and long-term peace. Thank you for watching. For more in-depth analysis and updates on this developing story, be sure to subscribe and hit the notification bell.